everyone. How's it going? So today we're going to be talking about conditionals and biconditionals. So we already did a little bit about this with the if-then statements. That's what a conditional is. So let's just go ahead and jump right into this. So I'm going to share my screen here. So here we go. So if you're trying to follow along, right, this is note page number 4 that we're working with here. So like I said, we already talked a little bit about this, but let's just talk a little bit more. So we have these statements here called conditional statements, and they're if-then statements. Okay, so a lot of times we'll say something like if P, then Q. Okay, and what this means is if P is true, then Q is also true. Okay, we call P the hypothesis and Q the conclusion, and we use this notation here, P then Q, if you see me write this. Okay, so we already know what this is. We already said this is the same thing as not P or Q. So what we're going to want to do is determine whether these are true or false, and then write the negation of these. So let's just look at example 2 here. So it says, if you wash my car, then I will pay you $50. Okay, so we know, okay, so let's start with the negation and then we'll talk about it. The negation of this, well, since this is the same thing as not P or Q, this is the same thing as P and not Q, right? So we negate the not P to just get back P. We negate the or to get and we negate the Q to get not Q. Okay, so why is this true? Because let's think about it. We want the whole thing to be false. So if the whole thing would be false, it would be, you did not wash my car. Okay, you did not wash my car, and I did not pay you $50. Okay, that's really what we want, right? So in order for it to be false, someone would need to wash my car and not get $50, right? So in order for it to be false, they would need to wash my car and not get $50, right? Well, that's exactly what this statement says right here. They washed my car, P, and they didn't get the $50. Okay, so that's why the negation is the way it is. And then you can see, oh, okay, well, that makes sense why P then Q would just be the negation of the negation, right? So whenever you negate something twice, you're just back to the original. Okay, let's try a couple of these. If you live in Denver, then you live in Colorado. Okay, this statement is true, right? Because this is if true, then true. That's a true statement. Okay. So we could negate this. Negation of this is you live in Denver. Okay. And you don't live in Colorado. Okay. So please take careful note to see that the negation of an if then doesn't have if and then in it, right? The negation is two statements. You live in Denver and you don't live in Colorado. Okay, so let's just make sure we don't put if then in these negations, okay? All right, let's try number 3. If it rains, then I will bring my umbrella. So this could be true. For it to be false, right? I would need to not bring my umbrella on a day that it rained. So this could be true. It could be true. Okay, it could be true. All right. So let's negate it. Okay, it means that it rained and I didn't bring my umbrella. Okay. All right. So go ahead and finish the rest of these examples and then check the annotated notes, right? Because that's how we're doing this. I'm doing a couple examples and then I want you to try them on your own, check the annotated notes, and then come to me if you have any questions in office hours or email me or something like that. Okay, so let's go to the next section, which is talking about a biconditional. A biconditional, you'll also hear this referred to as an if and only if statement. Okay, so we write it this way with two arrows. This means if P then Q and if Q then P, right? So we have it written down right here. We also say P is equivalent to Q. And those, and so you'll see like proofs and stuff like that that say the following are equivalent. And that's what they mean. They mean if and only if. Okay. Well, if this is what it means here, we should be able to write it down, right? So P then Q is not P or Q. So this is the first part, that P then Q. And we have not Q or P. Okay, so this right here is logically equivalent. So it's the same way of writing it. It has the same truth value as this right here, this if and only if. So let's take a look at example 5 here. So you're looking at example 5. It says a triangle is equilateral if and only if it is angular. Okay. So we want to figure out what the negation of this is. So we have two conditionals connected by an and, which means that our negation should be two and statements connected by an or, right? Because a conditional is an or statement connected by the and. That's an if and only if. So if we negate it, we should have and statements connected by an or. Okay, so let's just double check to make sure we did the first thing right. If I negate this whole thing up here, I'm just going to go one by one and negate everything. So the negation of not P is P. The negation of or is and. The negation of Q is not Q. So we've just taken care of this first part. The negation of that and right there is this or right here. And then we negate the next part. We have not Q or P. Okay, so we have this if and only if here. Okay, so let's just create a truth table of everything that we've done kind of so far in this class. So we started with our normal P's and Q's, right? So we have true, true, false, false, then true, false, true, false. Okay, we're good. So let's start with the and statements. So true and true is true, true and false is false, false and true is false, and false and false is also false. Good there. Okay, now let's do the ors. True or true is true. True or false is true. False or true is true. And false or false is false. So we're good here. Okay. Now, if you remember that we did the truth table last time for not P or Q. Okay, we did that truth table last time. So let's just, you can look back at those notes, but we know that it is true and then false and then true and then true. You'll notice that anytime, you'll notice that anytime that P is false, notice anytime that P is false, you get a true truth value, right? So this is false and this row is false, but I get those two true truth values, okay? Okay, now let's negate our if-then statement, which is just negating this column right here. So that will be false, true, false, false. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to fill in these truth tables here. What I would recommend for you is to rewrite this. I would rewrite this as this right here, okay? And then try to figure out what the truth table is. So I'd pause the video here, try to fill it out, and then come back and check. But if you do it, you should get true, false, false, true. And so if you negate it, which is this last column, you'll get false, true, true, false. Okay. Okay, that's it for conditionals and biconditionals. If you have questions, feel free to email me or watch some other videos. Otherwise, I will see you all next time.